Hi, and welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And we are back.
And we're all wearing blue.
And it's, oh yeah, we're wearing blue. I didn't realize.
I'm wearing grayish blue.
Well, it's
we're
still
going to count it as blue. Get with the program. And we got our little Thanksgiving table going because it's November. And we hope we had a good week. We're back with other things to talk about and plans for, I guess I'm thinking about Christmas now. So I'm going crazy, but Beth's going to go first.
Yeah. First of all, thanks to Rachel.
Oh, that's so
my
cute.
Sister-in-law. This is a late birthday present. So it's an elephant. I don't know if you can tell. There's an elephant coming through the blinds there, and,
and then
there's his rear end.
So cute. Yeah. So cute.
Yeah, I'm going to go first because I want to clear some of the stuff off the table. So this week I've been working on, since Halloween, actually, I had to finish a few days before Halloween. So for the last few days of October, I worked on this this winter gathering dimensions kit, and I don't remember. I think last week, I don't remember what I had posted or whatever before, but I did some more of this little orange color on the stockings below here, and then on this little second bird, I had done this first bird, so I did the second bird. I did he had some orange on him. And then the green of his he has a little scarf and hat, whatever. So I did that green. And then I did some more of these little trees, the little half-stitch ghostly trees in the background. So I did that.
Real quick, I'm going to step away because I need lotion. I have it in my purse way back there. So just keep talking.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
And then, so for November, I had talked about...
It's just me.
There's a dog.
The dog doesn't like the sound of keys,
This
I guess.
Mandalorian pattern by Naughty Bites. It's an Etsy shop, I think. Yeah. But my brother-in-law gave me this last Christmas as a Christmas present, and it's the characters from the Mandalorian show, and so my nephew needed some hand towels for his apartment, and so that was somebody driving by.
It was like a motorcycle. I thought somebody was moaning in the house.
I know. I thought, is my dad okay? Yeah. But so I started on this on November 1st. So I did the Baby Yoda in his little pod, and I did this, I guess it's a robot, IG-11, little
Have you watched
guy
this series?
Yeah, sort of, mostly, kind of.
I watched the whole thing.
I watched the whole thing.
And it's wonderful.
Yeah, you need to watch it.
I really liked it. I think I saw all or most of the first season.
Oh, okay.
But I hadn't
watched the second season.
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
She doesn't have
You're
access.
like, I guess he's a robot.
she doesn't have access to. That's like when Kim on Fat Quarter Shop when Kimberly says some kind of, is that a chicken or something? She didn't know what it was. It was like, I think it was a rooster. But I'm like, you live in Texas. How do you not know what a chicken is?
Or a rooster.
Or a rooster.
So, and this is the beginning of the Mandalorian himself. So, that I started like last night while I'm falling asleep.
Sleep stitching.
Yeah, but so I finished this little robot, and it goes almost at the top of this little band. There's a little space on the bottom, and I thought, well, I should have started it a little bit lower. So the taller characters, would fit a little more easily. But on the design, I went like from the center, of the pattern, and because the little Baby Yoda was more or less in the center, and so it was easier to get to. But the little space on the bottom, on the design, are the words "The Mandalorian," and so I think they'll just fit. So because I was debating whether or not to put them on there.
It looks like that robot's the tallest one.
This guy at the end,
the evil guy,
is one.
The same.
One stitch taller, I think.
Oh, really?
Well,
and maybe this
one
guy.
One stitch taller won't fit there, will it?
Yeah, it will. It'll just bump on the top. But
They look cute.
but it should fit pretty nicely. The only thing about this fabric is that it's Ada in the middle, and it's really nice, but it's very thick and fluffy, and so it's kind of hard to like. There's some half stitches or quarter stitches or whatever you call them in the design, and some of them have back stitching to help define them, and some of them don't. So it's kind of weird. Like the little pod that Baby Yoda's in, the slanted sides are like half stitches, and you can't really see them very well because the thread kind of sinks into to the fabric because it's very fluffy. But you can still see the general shape. And so I did add on Baby Yoda. I did add some back stitching around his hands, because his hands didn't have back stitching on them, and you really couldn't see them. They just look like green blobs.
Yeah.
So he still looks a little blobbish, but you can make out his face pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And so it's coming up. And what was really hard was the back stitching on the robot, because it's all like shades of gray and grayish blue and bluish gray and blue and gray and whatever. And so I was like, I think this is. I was kind of counting like, okay, it says 3 stitches from here and 4 stitches from there, and because you can't really tell the colors. Usually you could kind of tell like, oh, this is black stitching around the red or something like that. Yeah. But you really couldn't see it very well, so I was having to like sort of go by the pattern and sort of guess where did I stitch this? I don't know. And so that was a little hard to see in the stitching in the middle of his body, I guess. That define, I guess, like, his plating or whatever,
Yeah.
It's supposed to define that, and you can see it on the pattern, but you can't really see it very well in the stitching. But the stuff that counted, like around his head and this,
his
legs, yeah, that you can see that. So, yeah. So it's coming out pretty nicely, and it's going pretty quickly, because this is just, since the first. So
I love those little motifs like that.
Yeah. And then the other thing I did that he's going to get for Christmas is there's another towel like this, a matching towel. And I talked about it last week about the Christmas towel that I did. There's a one with Rudolph and a sled, and one with Santa and a sled. They're little, just designs for fingertip towels. And what I did was I took the little Rudolph guy and I put him on. I used my computer, the PC Stitch, and I just copied him onto the program, the computer, and then I used its duplicate thing, and I made 8 more reindeer. And then I changed their noses to black, and so that I have all the reindeer, the little 8 tiny reindeer and Rudolph, and then I put Santa in there, and then I made the sled a little bigger, and I put because the one sled that Rudolph had like just one little gift on it, and the one that Santa had just one little tree on it. So I just made it a little bit longer, and I put the gift in the tree. Oh, so cute. I spent like a whole day charting that out, and
that's fun.
I don't have it to show.
I was like, "What are you doing, Beth?" Because she barely sits at her computer that long.
Yeah,
she just mostly sits at her computer to buy more.
To buy another pattern. Yeah. But I don't
can't sell that pattern though because it's pieced together from someone else's.
And I actually don't have to show right now
picture of it.
This kind of picture of it. Although I realize that I should have printed that off, but I didn't. Where you do the.
Well, you have time.
Yeah. So you put this back there. Here, put this on top of it. And the reason I asked her to move that is that I'm going to be making some needle minders.
I put her to work. These slave labor.
Yeah, you can't really see, but these are little Scrabble tiles, And
We talked about them last week.
yeah, I think we had one person that had asked if we had something like this, whatever. So we made some Scrabble tile
Let's take a picture. Oh wait, you gotta turn it this way.
needle minders.
There we go. I'll put that in there.
And so we just made the ones that she had asked for, and a couple of extras. And so I decided to do these are vowels, the A-E-I-O-U. I've got 2 of each of those, and then I have a couple of extras that fell out of the bag and didn't get put back in the bag. And then one, because I made one for her, in the set that I was making last week, but the little tile part was like defective, had a little notch in it. I guess it was,
So in other words, I'll get that one.
and
And I get the broken ones.
So I got one to replace that, and then this is a blank tile, because when you play Scrabble, you get a blank. There's a blank
love a
tile
blank
that you
one.
can, yeah. So
Those are the best ones.
yeah, but I was wondering if you want to leave in the comments, if you were to buy one of these tiles, what would you buy? What initials would you like to see, or whatever? Because I have a whole bag of the tile, but I haven't made them all into needle minders, obviously. But
She doesn't know which consonants she should get.
yeah, so if anybody wants them,
Or
let us
funny
know what
words
you want.
wanna
Yeah,
spell out.
if you like them or whatever.
You should write on this blank one. You can be anything you want to be.
And then I have. I thought I'd also work on these little buttons. They're a little hard to see. Obviously, you can't see them, but like they have little sayings on them. Because nice matters is this one, and this one I have. Lucky is a state of mind. And this one says creativity takes courage, and this one says do small things with great love.
Aww.
And I have a few more with different sayings, but I don't have enough magnets. I had to buy some. Excuse me. I want to buy some more magnets of this size, because these are deep on the back. They're like, I don't know if they're intended to be, pins or something else, but they have like a deep well on the back, and so these the magnets that I have for them are a little bit fatter, so they'll fit better. The only problem I have right now is I'm gonna have to space these out, because
They'll
the
jump.
magnets will jump on each other.
If you've never had a magnet jump and pinch your hands, you haven't lived.
Yeah. I've had them, my dentist will probably
She's had
kill
one.
me.
Which one was it? Where it jumped together and it hit so hard it cracked one of the magnets.
Yeah, I was trying to put a magnet together, and the magnets like banged into each other, and it actually cracked one of the magnets. And that's really hard to get apart too, when
Yeah.
they're broken like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've taken
It cracked the magnet or the
magnet.
The magnet.
One
cracked.
magnet cracked the other magnet
Oh my
because they're really
hit so
strong
hard.
magnets and they smack together so hard.
So don't put them near your wallet or your
I've actually,
pacemaker.
like I said, I've actually used my teeth to
Yeah.
separate them.
Oh my gosh.
And it will go through my teeth. It'll stick together through my teeth. I can feel it.
That's a little dangerous.
Yeah. So.
And don't swallow
So-
them, whatever you do. That's
And
gonna
don't
be
put them.
very bad.
It just
Don't put
jumped
them near
in.
anything valuable.
Yeah.
She
so-
has one box that has just magnets and she pulls them out. They're just one solid
Yeah, they just stick
thing
to
and she
each
has
other.
to separate them out.
Oh my gosh.
But that, yeah. So I have them like separated far apart so they don't, jump on each other.
Magnets are kind of a cool, weird phenomenon, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah, like I remember, like when people first started using these silver magnets to make things, that they're talking about not to put them like near your
Your pacemaker.
or I guess certain
you-
kinds of
I shouldn't put them
With
near
your shunt.
yeah.
You should
Well, I
careful.
ain't sticking it on my head. That's
Just-
for sure.
You should be careful with your cell phone too.
And your dogs and
Yeah.
cats and little
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
It can
So
be very dangerous to
Yeah.
little children.
Yeah.
Oops. Whoops.
are you
Well,
making messes already?
I think you're next, Beth.
Next. My name's not
Eve.
Beth.
Eve.
I said
Naomi.
You,
No, you said Beth. I said Eve.
you, you, s- you at Eve and called me Eve.
That's why my mother used to say, "You Beth, what are you, Naomi? What?"
I said Naomi.
No, you didn't.
No, you did not.
You said you're
Beth.
next, Beth. And then she pointed at me and said,
My brain was saying Naomi.
basically, nobody knows my name.
Well, we are our mother's children.
Yes.
My name was always the last to be recalled.
Yeah, Mom would call us by either everybody else's name, her sisters, anybody, you know.
We
anybody.
knew who was being called by who she didn't say.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so in the tradition of covering Beth up, here, let's spread this out. Because I realized I haven't shown the whole thing in a while. It's not very long. I'm still stuck, but...
Mine is, like, here. So.
Yeah, so this is the part I'm working on right now, this ripple effect.
It's so pretty.
Right here.
It's so pretty.
And it's still...
I like this lace.
I got depressed last night because I started to look, oh, this is like, how many clues do I have left? I have so much left. I just got so far behind in the knit along, and then I just kind of stopped doing it. But I figured, well, I'm going to sit here. But I've been thinking about, like I said, Christmas. I'm working on, I'm going to put up a picture here of my progress with Hannah's quilt. I'm in the process of cutting the half square triangles, and what was funny is today in my Facebook memories there came a memory of, what was it, 4 years ago, where I was doing the exact same quilt, cutting the exact same squares. I'll put that in because I was doing it for a charity, and I'll put up that picture. And here, what I wrote about it was, I had said I had finished trimming 112 little squares, so the 2 3/4 inch squares. But then I edited it and said I don't know how to math because it's actually 448 little 2.5 inch squares that I'm trimming up.
I was bulking at 40.
And then I make 112 of the little squares that make up 1/4 of the star. And then I have to put together 28 stars. So I am somewhere in the middle of 448 the half square triangle squares that I'm trimming down from, I don't know what they are, to, they're about 3 inches.
Yeah, mine were 3-ish.
Yeah, 3-ish.
And trim them to
2 3/4.
2 3/4.
So
and I got mine trimmed, so.
But 4 years ago, I was doing the exact same thing. And I said, finally finished trimming little squares. And now construction starts, it said. So, but yeah, so that's what I'm doing at home. And oh, look, I bunched up Eve finished the table runner. It's sitting here, you can see. And I just bunched it up. So that's what I'm working on. But I decided just today that you remember that I bought that hem fabric that has the beautiful treatments of some of those some hymns. You better put that magnets up here. Yeah. And I bought the jelly roll that goes with them. And just as I was leaving my craft room today, I thought to myself, I was going over, like, what am I going to try to do for Christmas craft-wise? And I have lots of ideas, but I don't want to jeopardize all of them. So I realized I need to focus. And I think the one most important thing for me is to make that hymn quilt for my dad. So, and I may even pause Hannah's quilt for a little while, because once I get all the squares trimmed and everything, just because I think I can make that little quilt pretty quickly. And then I have until Hannah goes back to school in January to finish her quilt. So hopefully that will all work out. But I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna cut. I think what I'll do is trim up that panel into, squares, and see kind of, and then try to lay it out, and then put the strips in between. And then I thought I'll just do a strip border, and then I'm gonna do a scrappy binding with the strips that are left over. And I think that's what I'm gonna do with that.
Fumes coming from
Sorry.
this.
So
I'm trying not to make a mess.
Yeah,
I'm
put that
making
on
a
my-
little bit of a
look at my
mess.
shawl. That the other thing I decided today, literally, was that I was going to start this. Just to have
What is
something to
that?
do when I can't do anything else. Like, my aunt is coming for
Oh.
Thanksgiving, and she's going to be in my craft room, so that's going to cramp some of my sewing time. And so, I think I'm going to start this 8 tiny reindeer, plus one more.
Well, you know how far you can get with just half an hour or so.
I know.
Yeah.
So I think I'll do that just to put me in the mood for Christmas and give me something to do when I'm sitting around and can't do anything else, or when I don't feel like knitting anymore, when, you know. So, but I thought I wanted to make friends with Monica. I think I'm going to make friends with Monica and use use her fabric.
Monica who?
Our best friend Monica Lugana, you know, who lives down the lane. Anyway, so I think I'm gonna. Ooh, that stinks.
Sorry.
I think I'm gonna
Turn the fan on. Maybe that'll help.
No, it's too noisy. But anyway, so this is called 8 Tiny Reindeer. It is the most adorable. Let me get the picture out without getting out the. I bought this in New Mexico. She talked me into it.
Was that
lady.
you bought it at Stitcher Garden?
Yeah, yeah, it's so cute. And I'll put up a good. Now it's not glaring with the plastic.
Is it Kathy Barrick? Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
Sorry. Sorry, I'm fumigating the world.
Anyway, this is Santa in the middle of the 8 reindeer, and then there's Christmas trees down here, and then you get a little extra for Rudolph that you can
Oh,
make.
it's cute.
Yeah, see, it says plus one more with that with Rudolph. It is adorable, and I thought it would be nice just to work on one
Well, how do
reindeer
you
at
put?
a time.
You can't put Rudolph on.
No, he's extra. See
To
the
make
bottom?
them separate.
I could hang him on the tree.
You could do like
But Santa's not feeding Rudolph.
you could do them like the housewives do for the calendar crates.
It's cute.
You know, she
and
has
each.
you know
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
she has a little thingy.
Yeah,
You know.
and each reindeer has a different little snowflake design.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, on his chest and side and
Yeah.
stuff. And there's little baskets of berries and little trees. Anyway, so
That's a
I
cute
decided,
design.
yeah, it's really, yeah. So I was going to buy last year's, which was really cute. And then she showed me this is this year's, I guess. This is 2020, but whatever. Anyway, she showed me this one and I was like, okay. She's like, you could get both. I'm like, no, stop it. But so this will be
She's a really good salesperson.
She was, yeah.
Not pushy.
No, but just
Just
very like, oh, and let me show you
informative
this.
and helpful
let me show you
and-
this. Yeah. So anyway, so I think I'm gonna start that. It looks like it's done on blue, or you guys can help me dye it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like looks like mottled blue is what the sample's done on.
Yeah.
It's real pretty, and
Does it say on there what the fabric is? The call for fabric.
it says
model fabric.
blue. Was stitched on 40 count Arctic from Picture This Plus using 1 strand of needlepoint silk over 2 threads of linen.
Yeah.
Cross stitches used throughout with the following exceptions. Blah blah blah. Our
So it
frame
does
was
have a
custom made.
DMC conversion.
Yeah, it's got DMC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
And it shows you what stitch count would be depending on what you, like if you do it on 28 count.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but so it sounds like it's already dyed fabric.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
because
called Arctic.
the person who
40
dyes it
count.
called it Arctic.
Arctic.
You know,
So
Pictures This Plus.
40 count would mean the design would be smaller, right?
Right, smaller than like say if you use.
If I did 14, it would be big because it's just
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be this 8.5 by 17.5
Oh, I see.
and 3/8
Instead of 5.
size.
5
yeah.
and 7/8 by 12. 5 by 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never done 40 count. Some people love 40 count.
It seems really small. I
but,
think I
yeah.
have something like that that I was using 1/1 for that very first long dog
Oh yeah.
pattern that I got, and I literally had to have it under a
Yeah.
magnifying glass, which is why I have this much done. It's beautiful, and it's got a verse in the middle, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm doing it with this like dark green, but I couldn't, so I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do something more. But I like that Monaco Lugana that you use. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what count that is usually.
I use 28 count.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same as 14.
Okay. 14 Ada.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Yeah, because I don't mind if it's big. It may as well be big, and then I can see it. But yeah, so I'm gonna do that. I realize I got to get all the threads. That's fun. Make thread drops, also fun.
You want to go to the attic with us?
No. No, I can't go today because my husband offered to buy me a stove.
Oh.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We're thinking about it. And also, we're gonna look at couches today. So he's raring to go. So I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want
You
to
don't
jeopardize that.
You don't want to turn down a stove.
No. or I don't know. Yeah, we might do a stove, but we're certainly gonna look at couches. Anyway, it's a trip out, and we're gonna go. So I can't go with you today, but I know. And what else? The other significant thing in my life is that Knit Stars started this week. And I've watched 3 classes. A new one came out today. But I watched Casapinka. I'm going to put a picture of her here. She's my favorite. And Sharon from Security, the kitty, is in the class too. She's so funny. She's so funny. I'll show you the segment after this. But yeah, so Casapinka's project, I showed you that yarn I got. It's it's not a poncho, it's a pullover shawl. She says. And she goes, and I don't want to see any of you wearing it with the pointing at your crotch. It's not a crotch pointer. You're going to wear it sideways. Over the point's going to be to the side, because nobody wants a crotch pointer. And I'm like, I love you so much. And I guess right now she's on a cruise. I guess she does a knitting cruise in New England. I'm like, I want to go on that so badly. But
You don't want to cruise in New England this time of year?
Sure I do. Are you kidding? You have to wear all your knits and be warm and cozy on the cold boat. But I'll never go on one of those because I keep planning to spend my money fishing. I just booked my birthday trip. I'm so excited. So in July I'm going to go back up to Glen Canyon and do some more fishing with a Dave, one of the many Daves.
Who was it that I thought?
Did I put my
magnet box? I was thinking that Robert, I think, was the one I was thinking would like that.
Yeah.
Go with his buddies.
Yeah, we told him about it. Yeah. So. Yeah. So I'm excited. That'll be in July, on my birthday exact. So that's very exciting. And what else am I doing? Yeah. So Knit Stars is going on. I'm not obviously working on any of the projects in Knit Stars. I'm just watching and absorbing, and I only bought some of the yarn. The very first one was really cool. It was about, and I can't remember her name now. She's in England, and I'll have to look up her name. And she is, it's a long cowl that you make in the round instead of flat. So you do it in the round, then you fold it flat and join the ends, and it's in a big cowl you can wear loose or twice around or whatever. But the whole thing is just an experiment to talk about color work and choosing colors, and her whole thing is getting designs from nature and being inspired. And I did buy the yarn for that, and because her 3 kits were inspired by painters, and one of them was Georgia O'Keeffe. Oh. And I don't have the yarn yet because I ordered it in the second wave, so it'll come, I think, in January sometime. But I was very interested in her thing because I've been thinking about doing a little bit of designing and working more in color work, and because one of the things I want to actually design, I've thought about is fingerless mitts. But right here would be the design on Hobbs's head right here, because it's so beautiful. I'll put a picture.
Little M.
It's kind of an M. It's not really. It's like all these weird undulating stripes on his little head. It's gorgeous. And I thought that would make a really cute little, the back of your hand on on a
Can
fingerless
you
mitt.
reach
So I've been thinking about
my green magnet box there?
I've been thinking about
Did I put
that,
it back in there?
and then we're back. Beth had to get a box. I've also been just in the last couple of days. But her thing, she takes patterns from music, like sound waves, and she takes patterns from all different kinds of things and inspiration from. It's really cool. But I was just thinking about starting to put my toe in the water of knit design and designing a pattern maybe for a hat to start with. And I want to do, and I was also watching Knit Stars 4, which I still, once you buy a Knit Stars season, you own it forever. So you have all these videos you can go back. And I was watching it because it's all about alpaca and Peru and the knitters in Peru. It's just gorgeous. And they make their hats to reflect their villages and what they're doing, and the guys make fancy hats to attract the girls, right? It's really beautiful stuff. But you could, in just the flashing, they were showing this hat and this hat, and you could see the alpaca and, all different things in the hats. But I thought, since I've been so in love with fishing lately, I thought I should do a hat that has fish and fishing poles in it, and try to do that. And so anyway, so I'm brimming with ideas. Maybe 2022 will be the year I'd start actually designing things, and
we should actually output.
You
She designed that top.
Yeah, I know.
But,
I know. I had some what do you call it? Analysis paralysis about it.
Yeah, and
about getting it out, but I feel better about it. I'm going to put that.
When you're worried about doing it wrong, you end up doing nothing.
Right, exactly. That's what happens to me all the time.
Yeah. So is it my turn now?
It's I think that's everything I was going to talk about besides stories. But yeah, it's your turn.
So,
but I need some scissors. You have any scissors?
You're like
Just to cut a yarn right now. I'm sorry, I forgot my scissors. I need one of those nifty bags.
they're right here.
Thank you.
So I cross-stitched last night, yesterday, for a long time, because my dad and I were watching Concussion.
Oh, did he watch it? Finally? Did
He was
like
awake
it?
through some of it.
I love that movie.
So it's my dad and I, when we're watching a movie, I'll cross stitch. But for a variety of reasons, we haven't. Wednesday night, we went to a movie, so we didn't watch a movie. But we, as in
Thank you.
family, went to a movie, and so I cross stitched then, and not the night before that, but the night before that, I cross stitched.
Not last
some.
night, but the night before.
Yeah. The night before that. Anyway, so.
Not last night, but the night before last night.
Mm-hmm. Because I was working on this, which I have a picture of it without stuff all over the table.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I had intended it for Naomi's Thanksgiving table, because we do Thanksgiving at Naomi's house. She thinks it might be too long for her table, but it can hang over. But we're gonna see. Anyway,
on the other side is Halloween.
yeah, the other
stuff.
side has.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cute. I didn't know that. Oh, that's cute.
Let's see if I can.
Don't spill your soda on it.
It's got that on the other side, so that you can have it out during the fall and have it for Halloween, and then flip it over. There it is. So I was concentrating on that, and I was working a little bit on the pillowcases, getting some ironing on that done, and so I would have done this faster, except every time I did something for this, I went and ironed a pillowcase or two. So, and then, I had to keep going to do things. And then I did get the I'm not going to hold them all up because there's so many. But the trimming done on these, and so now I can sew together all my pinwheels. So 40. I just had to trim 40, not a gazillion million.
244.
How big is your quilt going to be? My goodness.
Well, I'm making it for her full-size bed. It's a queen size.
Yeah, I think this one is big too. I don't remember what size it is.
That's all your squares?
No, there's more over here.
Oh, okay.
But see, each square is 9 5-inch squares big.
Oh.
Okay.
So
And
it's a
there's
big 9 patch.
and there's 20 of those.
Yeah.
So it's a big quilt, and then the borders and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
But I think you use more big squares. Like I already made all the 5-inch 4 patches, so it's 5 times 4.
yeah, it's
I already made those.
it's
so.
20 squares, and each square is a 9 patch.
Oh, I see. A big.
9 patch.
I
5-inch 9 5-inch
a lot of
squares.
math.
Oh, quilting is horrible math.
And I'm not somebody who
horrible math.
enjoys math.
Yeah,
That's
one
one
of the
thing.
things.
That's one
like,
thing I love about the cross stitch calculators that you can pull up on your phone. Because some people were talking about when I first started getting into Flosstube and stuff like that, because I never really did any kind of analysis before, because a lot of the stuff I stitched before were on either were kits, or they said you get on the thing of what you would need along with the threads, it had whatever fabric size. And so just recently is when I started to need the calculator and think, I don't know how big a piece of cloth I need, or I don't know, and so I would read, some people said, well, you take this and you figure this and that and the other, and how many stitches wide and how many I can't think of it.
Yeah, quilting
But
math.
so
is
the
worst.
cross stitch calculator, you just plug in the things and it says you're gonna need this size of fabric.
So with this, it was finished is better than perfect. There's when I was doing it, there was a lot of issues, and I finished it.
I love that phrase that Jenny Doan says from Missouri Star. She says finished is better than perfect, and she's absolutely right.
Yeah, and because there's some spots on here when I
think I saw that.
doing the little pumpkin quilting on it, that the fabric bunched and stuff like that, and I'm not going to go back and fix that. This is going to be pulled out,
No, it's not for the state
family.
fair.
What?
It's not for the state fair.
Yeah. So, whatever. And then I'm working on. This is what I worked on while I was watching the movie last night. And to All a Good Night, which I've showed. I tilt it because the picture is tilted. By Stitching with the Housewives. And, my son woke me up to talk to me when he got home from work. He gets home from work about, I think it was about 3:30, might have been 4. Yes, my son just walks into my room and starts talking to me. And I wake up and listen. So, and what he was telling me was important. And when I was trying to go back to sleep, I kept thinking about this pattern, because one of the things that I had done was put the little bell on the reindeer. And I would show you here, but you wouldn't be able to see it. So I'll take a picture with my finger showing you what I'm doing. And since the thread has variation, I happened to get a part of the yellow that was not as bright. It looks a little bit better on Santa's sleigh, but it doesn't look gold, like a little gold bell. And I thought, maybe I should just get a little gold bead and put it there. or maybe stitch a little bit of a toile over it, or maybe a little Krynic over it.
Make it sparkly.
Make it just look metallic. So, but if I do that, I have to do it on Santa's sleigh. And if I do that, I might need to put some Krynic on snowflakes to make them more sparkly. But if I put them on the snowflakes, I have to put them on the snow, on the houses.
Talk about analysis paralysis.
No, I'm going to keep working on it meanwhile. But because I can go in and put one strand over. But, you know, it's like, do I want to get this done just the way it's charted? Or do I want it where I like sparkly? I was never one of those girls that had to have sparkly this or sparkly that, you know, like notebooks and lipstick and, you know, eyeshadow and just, you know, that's just not me. But I like sparkly on things like my turtle. I'm stitching a turtle. I haven't stitched it in forever. Maybe if I think about it, I'll pull it out and take a picture to show you guys what I'm talking about. But the pattern's a DMC pattern, a free DMC pattern. And I have Krynic all in that. I mean, it is sparkled up. Because I think sea turtles are beautiful. And, I mean, turtles in general, I think, are pretty cool. But sea turtles...
They're so cool.
Are beautiful.
I saw a video of some couple. I was like on Reels or whatever on on Facebook, of some couple that had like a pet, like a giant tortoise, like as big as half this table.
Well, they keep growing.
And yeah, but I mean it was a big turtle, and they had like a kiddie pool. And they threw something in the kiddie pool, and this turtle leaped into the pool. It was you don't think about it, but it's like it kind of ran and leaped into this pool. And I was like, that I've never seen that before. And, because usually you see them kind of like slowly lumbering.
So if I do sparkly stuff on this, it means that it won't be done for this year, but it probably wouldn't be done for this year anyway. But I would have to go back and go over stitches. And so I have to decide how much I want that or not. And I think, I mean, I love the way snow glistens. That's one of the things about it that makes it so cool to look at when it's on houses and, stuff like that, is that it's like God put glitter in the water, and so I may just work on it and because that kind of stuff I can add later if I want to. So I may get it done and then go, okay, now do I want to put the sparkle on there, or do I want to just put a couple of gold beads on there? Do I want to just leave it the way it is?
Yeah, it's like when I was doing that Sleepy Hollow thing, that I was working on. I was gonna originally thought about doing it was like glow in the dark, for the ghosts and it has like ghosts and some clouds and then the vampire's face and things like that are all this white, So I thought, well, I could do glow in the dark. And I know DMC makes a glow in the dark thread, but I think I'd have to order it like from 123 Stitch because I know they don't have it at Hobby Lobby or Joann's or whatever. And I went to the attic actually, and they didn't have it there either. They had like some glow in the dark Krynic, which I went ahead and bought. But then I thought I really don't want to stitch that much Krynic, And I mean I like Krynic well enough, but And so I ended up using a toile, and it made it nice and sparkly enough that you could see it and it really stands out. But I did all the white in a toile, and but yeah, it took me a while to sort of decide, and 2 or 3 things I was thinking about before I finally hit on.
Well, and one of the things is that when I fell in love with this pattern, when I first saw her display it on her YouTube channel, I liked it the way it was. Now she stitches her stuff on black, and I chose not to use black, but I like the way it looks on this color, so that, that's not the issue. So once I get it done, I may look at it and say, I like it. Mm-hmm. And not have to go and, do all that other stuff. But if you saw my turtle, you'd understand why I'm even thinking that. So that's what I'm working on. I'm getting, this half closer to it. Yeah, it's deceptively, it's deceptive that it's, not that big. And I know there's a lot of people that finish these things in a day, but that is not me. One of the things, as I say, I almost never show stuff I bought here. But Beth needed to go to Joann's for something, thread or something.
Oh, yeah, I was going to talk about that briefly, but go ahead.
And the Heidi and Joe... Hildy. Why do I say Heidi? Hildy.
Yeah.
Was on sale.
At Joann's, yeah.
Yeah. It was on sale quite a bit.
Is it their store brand or whatever?
I don't know.
Joe? Oh,
but it's only at Joann's, so I don't know. Anyway, I found this Steampunk Butterfly. Now, I like the steampunk look. I buy it all the time at Michael's and sometimes at Joann's. But this butterfly is so cool. And I want to try to get a needle minder made with it. And then I bought 3 versions of this, and to me they look like little hobbit doors. And when I'll take some pictures so you can see them up close, but it's a locket, so the little door opens.
That's cute.
And I'm like, it looks like it's a round door with a little round window. I mean, is that a hobbit door or isn't it? And this one is a slightly different shape, but to me it looks like a hobbit door. And they're lockets, so you could put your favorite hobbit's picture in there.
Is that bronze? That one there?
Yeah, this one is
like a bronze color.
Like a bronze color, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was like, they open. I love it. It's not just a door that doesn't open. So I want to have needle minders made out of this too. Now they do have a loop at the top.
Doesn't matter.
We're not going to be taking that off. But I think that these are just so awesome. And then we needed to go to Walmart, and I was waiting for a prescription. So naturally, I have to go shopping. I was looking for giraffes. Yeah, a long story. Anyway, I keep picking up these cute little buttons.
Let me see that butterfly. I want to see it.
I keep picking up these cute little buttons. These are some turkey buttons. They have little signs that are not attached. They're actually separate buttons. That one says "pick him" and another one says "pardon me."
Oh, you found turkeys?
Yeah.
Because Rachel was looking for turkeys. Oh, those probably wouldn't make
No.
good earrings.
No.
But they're cute.
No, they're buttons.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
So we were thinking about if we could just like file this off.
Yeah.
So you could make needle minders out of them.
That's cute.
And then I've been picking up these buttons. I have other ones, but these little plastic buttons, they always have an end cap display. Little Christmas dogs.
Cute.
And their little Christmas bones.
With their bones. So we were talking about those too. And then, I don't know, I like these. There's a pair of scissors and 2 thimbles and a dressmaker's form and some buttons and some threads and a tape measure. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking of making needle minders with this too.
Yeah, little button designs.
Those are cute.
Yeah.
Of course, the tape measure one looks a little bit like a
Like a beehive?
No, it looks a little bit like a cinnamon roll.
Yeah.
I could be hungry, but those would be really cute accents on like a cross stitch or a.
Yeah.
Look at the needle.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah, the needle wouldn't make a needle.
But you could put that on a scissor fob.
Actually, one of these tiny magnets.
You should put the scissor. What was that? That's weird. I heard a.
Yeah, it was an.
You should put the scissors and the needle on a scissor fob. That's cute.
I have a scissor fob with scissors on it. Anyway.
Now I've completely lost track of what I was
Oh,
doing.
that reminds me. When we were at Joann's, I bought some Santa beads. I can't reach them. Can I reach them? I don't know. Oh, they're.
It's okay, Beth.
Yeah.
You bought Santa beads.
But I bought a string of beads that has Santa and some. It has some Christmas
1, 2.
colored like crystal kind of beads that I don't really like. But the Santa beads were, I think, glass. But so I'm thinking of making a scissor fob with those, and then yeah, and then I just bought some DMC needles. But the reason that I went there was I was getting some threads for that Mandalorian chart, and at this one Joann's anyway, the DMC bins were very picked through, and very I don't know, it's the supply issues or whatever.
Chain.
But they just like. There were a lot of bins that were empty or had one skein of this and one skein of that. And so...
I think they had a sale recently.
I don't know. But all of the colors that I needed, I was going through and I didn't need that many exactly. But there were a couple that I needed that were just not there. And I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? And then I remembered that they had 2 or 3 of those box sets that you could get of different colors. And one of the ones they had was like household decor colors or whatever. And on the back of that, it's like they're kind of expensive, like $25 basically, which ordinarily I wouldn't get because I usually, if I need DMC threads, I need one skein of this one, mostly because I'm too lazy to go through all my whips and find a skein of this one color that's tucked in a bag with this project or whatever. But
that's where thread. That's where that.
Well, usually
thread really helps me because I'm like, it tells me that I do have that thread.
Yeah.
And it'll list every project that uses that thread.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I can go, well, it's either in this one or this one, and usually I remember which one it's in, because like the cross stitching for fun patterns use so many threads, and so normally that's where it is.
Well, I have like 5 bins of DMC thread bobbins. And usually if I've got a project and I haven't worked on these few projects in a while, I'll take the threads out of there and put them and at some point I had gone through and done that with a lot of projects and I just put the threads away, and so they were in my big boxes of bobbins. But when I was looking for the threads for the Mandalorian, and it has a big list because it's each of those characters you has 3 stitches of this and 3 stitches of that, and but so anyway, there were like maybe a handful that I couldn't find between that, the Mandalorian charts, and the Rudolph one I was going through. And then also there were a couple of bobbins that were like down to like just a little bit on there, and I thought, well, I'll get another skein to replace that.
So did you buy that big box?
So I bought the box. It came with like 36 colors in it, and like several of the ones that I needed were on there. Because I was looking at it, I was like, maybe it has the ones I need, and it did. So there were like a couple that I put back that were in the box that I didn't need. and then a couple more that fortunately they had in the bins that I needed. So I got all the threads I needed. But so while I was there, I got some more DMC needles, and actually I was thinking about those DMC needles. The ones I got are a little smaller than the one I have that I have been using for the Mandalorian kit, because that needle is a little thicker, and it, it's harder to get through under when I'm weaving underneath to end a thread or whatever.
Yeah.
That thicker needle is hard to get through there. So I was
Have you ever bent a cross stitch needle?
Yes.
Maybe once or twice, I think.
It's like,
but
Chelsea,
Chelsea, yeah.
she says she bends them all the time, and Kimberly says she bends them all the time.
Yeah,
I think if your fabric is really tight and you're trying to go under, that's when I do it.
Yeah, she stitches in hand too a lot,
Is that what you're doing, Eve? So you're not using a hoop in that?
Yeah.
How come?
Yeah.
You just like it better?
It's partly the size, probably. Too.
Part of it is the size, but I prefer it. But your hand gets tired because you have to hold the fabric taut with your hand. But I don't have to move the thread, the
hoop.
I don't have to move the hoop. I don't have to figure out which hoop will fit. I don't have to iron the thing to look at it because it's got all these little hoop wrinkles on it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the hoop holds the fabric taut so the holes are even and not, they don't get. And I was actually thinking about putting a hoop on this, or I'm going to have to iron it to get it stiffer, because I don't mind it soft, but because I dyed this and I'm doing it in hand, it's very
Loosey-goosey.
very, very loose, and so it's very hard to get the threads. I mean, get it to hold tight enough where the stitches are even. So I was thinking about.
I was just curious.
Putting a hoop
because then,
on.
do you do the sewing method where you go in and out
Yeah.
at the same time? Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was doing on that Mandalorian thing
most of the time. Sometimes I end up doing poke because just
Yeah.
trying to get it to go.
I
in the right
tried
spot.
stitching in hand, and I like
I think my hand would cramp up.
kind of got the hang of it going one direction, but I couldn't get, it was just like it messed me up. So it's much easier for me to just do a hoop, and I have a whole bunch of different sizes. I have little tiny ones and really big ones.
Oh, I have a whole bunch of different hoops.
Yeah, but it's easier for me if it's in a hoop. Except that what I was doing, that Mandalorian thing on that. I guess I could stretch the fabric a little tighter, but I have it as sort of a larger hoop. I think I have it in an 8-inch hoop, and I have some 6-inch ones, which will probably be easier to hold. But the 8-inch hoop I was using because I can get more of an area on there. But in when I was doing the Baby Yoda and IG-11, they both have a few French knots in them, and of course I do colonial knots. But it's really hard because there was just a lot of give in the fabric, and plus it's easier for me to do French knots if I'm working at a table or something like that, because I have to put the hoop down in order to hold the fabric, and so it's just I was getting frustrated trying to do it and I was in my bed last night, because I usually stitch in bed, but I was like, I can't put this, can't find the right angle to put it, and then the fabric goes when I was trying to hold it, push it, hold it down and stuff.
Well, speaking of needles, is it story time?
Yeah, sure.
I lost the needle.
Yeah.
Because I'm an idiot. As I told my fishing instructor, I'm basically an idiot. So, it was October 31st, And I said, I'm done with this cross stitch for now. I reached
The
my...
witchy stitchy thing.
I'm like, I did my obligations. I stitched every day. I posted every day. And I just can't anymore. So I took the stitching out of the hoop. I folded up my fabric. And I took the needle winder off. And like an idiot, I put the needle... So the one I have, because it's a messed up one, is a button. It was a button cover, the covered button thing. So it's kind of rounded on the top.
It's like this.
Yeah, and the needle sat on it, but it was kind of, pretty easy to pull off. But if I'd have put it underneath, it would have stayed, right? Mm-hmm. Did I do that? No. I just set it on my... So I have a chair in our living room, and then we have a, what's that called?
End table?
An end table between the chair and the couch. And that's where I put all my crap, much to my husband's frustration. So I folded up the cross stitch, and I put it in the Ziploc bag because I don't have a I don't have a bag, a good bag.
You know how to sew?
So I put it in my gallon Ziploc bag with the threads for the project, right? Nice and folded. And then I put the pattern back in the pattern Ziploc bag because I don't have a project bag. A fancy Three Sisters Creative project bag. I have Ziploc bags. So I put those in there. But I thought, the needle minder and the hoop I'll leave out because I was thinking about that Christmas thing, or, put it back in my stuff. It's so easy. So I put the hoop down, and then I put the needle minder there with the needle just kind of precariously on the curved top, and put it on the end table, and then forgot about it. Day or two later, I'm walking through the living room. We have all tile, and I put my foot on something, and it kind of skates. So I picked my foot up, thinking in my mind that it was a soda bottle top that the cats had found and were playing with. So then I did whatever, and I went back and looked down and said, I got to pick up that soda bottle top. And it was not the soda bottle top, it was the needle minder. Sans needle.
Ooh.
So I'm like, oh my gosh. One of the cats picked it up, decided to play soccer with it, and the needle is now somewhere. So I'm on the floor, Mark's on the floor, we're looking all over, cannot find the needle. We locate both cats. Neither one of them has a needle jabbed up in their mouth, which is what I envision. And neither one of them has had any gastric problems, indicating that they swallowed the needle. So the worst that can happen is I'm going to find it in my foot. But yeah, I'm like...
Or you don't want to find it with your butt.
They can still find it.
I know. So anyway, there's a needle floating in my house somewhere.
You take your needle minder and use the magnet on it?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not anywhere on the tile.
Yeah.
It's not under the end table. It's not under my chair. It's not in my chair that I can see. It's not, it could be embedded in the carpet. But I always think about, our cousin Judy had a boss and she was working with him, and all of a sudden he had to have foot surgery because he stepped on a sewing needle, and because it had no head, it went all the way into the meat of his foot, and they had to and get it out. This is what I think of. I told her, I said, because she said, I guess she's working with him again, or no, had hooked, saw him again or something, and I said, do you know, tell him I think of that man on a daily basis. I met him once, but I think of him almost every day. So anytime I handle a sewing needle, I think of that man, and I think of how he had to have his foot completely sliced open to get a sewing needle.
I almost had to have my foot operation on my foot because I stabbed it with floral wire.
Yeah, I remember you told us that story.
And I was
but at least
very
they could grab
lucky.
it and pull it out.
I was very lucky. Well, they were pretty sure that if it was in the bone, that they wouldn't have been able to pull it out.
I know, but I mean, he was flayed open like a fish.
Yeah.
To get that needle out.
And if you step on a needle, it comes
in
up through the bottom. Mine went, from the ankle.
I saw a post on Flosstube, not on Flosstube, a post, one of the stitching groups, of a lady who had lost a needle, a cross-stitch needle. She couldn't find it. She looked everywhere. She couldn't find it. Then she went in the shower, and she said, I found the needle in one of my lady parts.
Oh my gosh.
She said and she I guess had gotten undressed and everything without finding it. She found it, stuck in, she didn't feel it necessarily, but it was there. It's like, oh my God. I always think of that because
now you think of her on the daily.
because I stitch a bit, and it's what's so funny is that sometimes, like, I'll be stitching and I'll have the needle in my hand and I'll drop it, right? So I'm saying, well, it should be right here because I dropped it right here. And then, I'm feeling around a bit and I can't find it. And I'm feeling, and I can't find it. And I'm like, is it underneath me? Because my body weight, is pushing the bed down so that the needle would have rolled underneath me, right? Or rolled. And so I'm feeling under here and it's not there, it's not there. And the needle will totally disappear. And I'm like, it can't have disappeared because 2 seconds ago it was in my hand and it fell right here. I saw it with my own eyes fall, and then I
went into the fourth dimension. I told the story right here about when I couldn't find that little tool and it was in the pocket of my. It was a tatting needle. It was in the pocket of my pajamas.
When I drop needles, they're over in our den area, and my son is often over there, and he'll see me going like this, and I'm picking up stuff, or I'll be looking and trying to move the couch, and he's like, "Did you drop another needle?" I'm like, I heard it ping or something like that, and he'll look for it for about a second, 2 seconds, and he goes, "Here, Mom."
Okay, so the way things bounce when they hit tile is actually
weird.
It's very amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
So not this wedding ring, but my other wedding ring, my original wedding ring, was on the bathroom counter. I had taken a shower and I put it on the counter. I didn't put it in a safe location because I'm basically an idiot, right? So this is the theme of my life. So, I was out of the shower and I swung the towel like this and I heard cha-ching. Okay? Now this is in a bathroom. It's our master bathroom, but it's not huge. It's basically like a galley, right? So here's the sinks, and then there's a wall, and then it opens out a little bit. There's a toilet, shower, right? A cabinet, whatever. And it couldn't have fallen within 3 feet of any direction. And there's nothing in there. It's just tile, cat food, bowls, whatever. So I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm looking. I'm like, honey, I cannot find my ring. And it's one of those crazy things. So he comes in, and he's like, it had to have gone down the sink. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't think so. I heard it land on the floor. He's like, it had to have gone to the sink. There's nowhere else it could have gone. So he pulled the elbow, U-bend down from down there, and it wasn't in there. And I'm like, it hit the floor. So then we get down and we realize, do you know this? That under your cabinets in both probably the kitchen and the bathroom, the little kick plates don't go all the way to the top. Don't go all the way up to the cabinet. There is a space. That ring had gone, we didn't know, we suspected, and it was true. It hit the floor and bounced up under the edge of the cabinet over the kick plate, and it was under the counter. Under the cabinet. So my bathroom cabinet now has 2 holes because he got his drill with the big round drill bit. And then he looked in there. Sure enough, he found it. He fished it out. But it was like,
it's like an I Love Lucy episode.
Well, it's just bizarre, like the way things bounce, and also that your brain, with this massive brain that you have, you are still not quick enough to watch something like that fall and see where it bounced. Like it blows my mind. And the tile floor is always such a
well, that's like
it's like a crazy variable.
When I'm sitting on the couch here, and I drop needles all the time. I fell out of a van and hurt my back, and so sometimes my hands don't grip properly, and so I drop them all the time. I drop everything, and so I'm like, why am I hearing it hit the floor when I'm sitting all the way back? And no, I hear it go ping, and I look straight down, and there's no needle.
Nope. It's 3 rooms away. Same thing when you break glass.
Yeah.
We had a dog that loved to chew glass, and we would break something, and we'd clean it all up, and we'd look everywhere, and then a little while later, she's chewing on a piece of glass. And the same thing, Sheldon broke one of I have these little ramekins that I use when I'm cooking, and I had left one on the counter because I'm basically an idiot, and he got up there and he knocked it down. And
in the grand tradition of cats everywhere.
Okay, that little thing is this big. Okay, it was glass, and it was square, and so it was like this tall, this big. Not a lot of glass. But we found a big old chunk of it, like a week later, from somewhere in the dining room. The cats were playing with it. I'm like,
what was it that we dropped here in the kitchen? Right there off of the little table.
I was thinking of the toothpicks that you dropped.
Those went everywhere.
Because I was walking past that little segment of counter between the stove and the oven and the refrigerator, and on the little handle thing there, on the dish towel, there was a toothpick, balanced precariously on the edge, and I knew Eve had been baking those little pumpkin things, And so she had talked about, she'd use a toothpick to see if they were done or whatever. She had talked about that earlier to my dad. And so as I was walking by and I saw this toothpick, and I just showed her, oh, did you left a toothpick there? She goes, yeah, that she had spilled them everywhere. And so while she was talking to her, she goes, there's one there on the floor.
I had, they're these little plastic toothpick cases, and they have a hole on one side, and you can just shake one out. But they do open. And while I was trying to shake one out, the lid came off and the toothpicks went. Oh. And so I was digging around and trying to find, all the toothpicks. And I picked up tons of toothpicks off the floor. Now, I picked up tons from the counter, but tons of toothpicks off the floor. And there were still 2 more. And when she picked up that one, there wasn't one there. But as soon as she picked it up, another one must have fallen.
It's so weird. It's so weird. Like, I always say, like, I don't know if you've ever been, like, it happens to me at stores. But you'll be walking down the aisle and something will just fall off a shelf.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I always say the earth just shifted. Like, I think if the earth is rotating as much as it does, at some point, something has to, like... The loaf of bread just has to falls off.
One time I was shopping, and grocery stores have these tall shelves, and I went from one aisle around like this to go back down the other aisle, and that aisle had bread, and there was a woman there, but she wasn't standing anywhere near the bread, and there had been nobody else in the aisle that I had come out of, right? I come around like this, and a loaf of bread from the very top shelf, a loaf of bread went, whoo, it went flying over.
It's bizarre.
And I'm like...
The same thing happened to Hannah. We were at Joann's. She was little, maybe like 6 or 7. And she was just walking down the aisle. She wasn't touching anything. She was in the middle of the aisle of fabric. And all of a sudden, a bolt just went bonk and hit her in the head.
I remember.
Like, out of nowhere.
It just fell out.
Because the earth shifted. The earth really did shift. I don't know if you remember, it was a few years ago now. Not very long ago. A few years ago. We were sitting at the dining table, and my son goes, because Hannah was already in college, so it was in the last 3 years. He looks up and he goes, why is the light fixture swinging? And we're like, that's weird. Like, like this one here, when you just have a hanging chandelier, there's no breeze or no air conditioning or anything that's going to make that thing swing. But we all look up, and sure enough, it's swinging because there was an earthquake in California, and we felt it here in Arizona. Oh, I have another story, just one real quick one. Short update on our 411 project. I think we said we have over 70 pillowcases.
Yeah.
So I took some home. I think I talked about it last week, that I took some home and I was ironing them in their final stage of ironing before they get put together. And I was using steam, and I have this new ironing board that has like an iron rest over here, a metal thing, and then it's got a pad. But as I was ironing, I see all this what looks like smoke coming out from under billowing out from under the ironing board. I was like, okay, that's the steam going through the ironing pad. Because usually when I use steam on my blocks, I have that wool pad, so it doesn't go all the way through like that. So anyway, I was doing that. All the steam. And then later, I think I finished that whole project, and I was working on Hannah's quilt again, and I was ironing little tiny squares on my wool pad. But I looked down. Now, this is all in Hannah's room, which is closed off, and I haven't let the cats in there in ages because right now it's a disaster.
You use it as a craft room.
I use it as a craft room, and there's all this yarn and wool and stuff, and it's kind of a mess right now. So I don't let the cats in there right now. But I looked under the ironing board, and there was a black spot or dark brown spot that looked very suspicious of animal trespassing. But I'm like, there's been no animals in here, and there's certainly nothing sick enough to make and I kind of put my toe like this toward it, and it was wet, and I thought, what is that? Now, you'll probably think bad things about me, but I didn't go get a paper towel and clean it up right then, because it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was on my way to bed when I finally saw it, and I was like, I'll deal with it tomorrow. I don't think it's any kind of poop. I don't know what it is. I kept thinking, is something leaking up from under the house? Where would this be? Where would it come from? No animals have been in here. And I didn't do it. Yeah. I didn't do it. So I was like, okay, that's weird. So then I was laying in bed. Early the next morning, I was like, oh. And I figured it out. And when I went back in, it was dried and it was red. The steam, I guess, had been collecting under the ironing board, and the condensation rusted something under there, because I looked under there, there's little edges of rust. So I guess it was dripping rusty water on the carpet. So it's a good thing where that carpet is not long for the house. But so if you ever see any mystery poop, it's probably rust.
When she was saying something coming up from the floor or something, it reminded me of the first house I lived in here was a rental house. Oh, yeah. And had a number of issues, one of them being the landlord not paying the mortgage and also not paying their HOA fees. But so toward the end of the time when I was already planning to move, because I wanted to move my son to a different school. For a variety of reasons. And so I was already looking to move, and I was on month to month by then. And in the summer, we have thunderstorms and rain that comes down very, very hard, but not for days. It just comes down very, very hard for a while. And when that happens in that house, because she would not put on proper, what is the word I want to use? Weather stripping on the kitchen door. The kitchen door had a door that went to the outside. Water would come in that door, and the tile would flood. So when I heard the thunderstorm, it was night-ish. I went to go put something by that door so that the tile wouldn't flood, to protect the house, And so I went and put that stuff and was walking back, and of course there was tons of water already in there. I was walking back and I stepped onto the carpet in the little dining area of, that was right beside the kitchen, and my foot stepped on something and went squish. And I'm like, and I looked down, and it's this huge, wet, squishy spot. I look up. There's no water coming from up. And so I texted my landlord. I said, something's wrong. There's a big, wet, squishy spot from the rain somehow. Mm-hmm. And she never answered me. And then the next day, there's no rain, but the squishy spot is bigger. Mm. And I'm like texting her, something's wrong. There's no leak in the ceiling. I don't know why there's this squishy spot.
Yeah.
And she said, well, you're month to month now, so, you're going to have to fix that.
What?
Wrong.
Not my house, not my problem,
Wow.
And after texting her with no response several times, she said, well, here's the name of my plumber. Well, she gave me the phone number for my plumber. So she gave me the wrong, because I told her, this isn't my house. And so I kept texting, no response. Because I said, it's an emergency.
Yeah.
I think at some point at that time I had figured out that it was a water leak of some kind.
Yeah.
And I had turned off the water to try to minimize the damage to the house. Uh-huh. Wasn't my house, but, Mm-hmm. And so finally I text her back and I'm like, did you give me the right number? There's nobody responding. She had given me the wrong phone. So the plumber came and he said, there's a leak in the pipe underneath the house. They're going to have to excavate from in the house down.
Oh my God.
And it's going to take some time, and you won't be able to occupy the house because you won't be able to use the kitchen or water or anything.
Wow.
And so she said, I had finally found another apartment. I kind of found something like now because of what was going on at this house, right?
Yeah.
And she said, well, you're just going to have to move out now then, instead of in 2 weeks when you wanted to move out. I'm like, my apartment won't be ready yet.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, yeah, but you're just going to have to go ahead and move out now.
Jeez. I
And
remember
the world's
she
worst
was bad.
landlady.
She was awful.
Yeah. So...
And what she means is when she would pay her, Eve would pay her rent and the lady would not pay her mortgage. So then Eve was getting foreclosure notices on the house. And
she
all this
wasn't
stuff.
paying the HOA fees. So I had to eventually start paying my rent directly to a lawyer.
Yeah.
And they would figure it out.
That's awful.
And so honestly, I don't think she had the money to fix the house. Maybe she wasn't paying the insurance.
She was robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Maybe she wasn't paying the insurance on the house either. And so, the
So what did you do? Did you move out? Right
yeah, I moved. That's when I moved onto 48th Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, you said.
But as I was moving out, see, that whole summer, Robert and I both were not feeling good. And I thought Robert's asthma was getting much, much worse. And I had gotten him more asthma meds. This ended up costing him in the Navy, this asthma medicine. Because he kept coughing constantly. And as we were moving out, I'm getting stuff from under the sink, and there is black mold everywhere
Oh.
under the sink. And I moved that little black thing I have over there. When I moved it, you could see that there was moisture on that side cabinet. Fortunately, there wasn't any on my little cabinet. But, so there had been moisture in the house for a long time. And it had finally just come up through the floor. But there was one of those filtered water things on the sink. And it used to make a drip drip sound. And I said, is that drip drip sound right? Is that good? Is that okay? And they said, oh, no, that's normal. This doesn't make it. And they said, no, that's normal. I think that drip drip sound I heard was the water leaking.
Maybe. Yeah, it's like when we had the mold at Redfield. It was like
I was real quick before we had to finish here, but I found the other needle minders. That this is a little owl. It's a steampunk owl thing, but that I want to make into a needle minder eventually. And also I found the Santa beads.
Oh, cute.
So yeah, I'll take a picture of this so you can see it better. But so the dog is going bananas now.
So we apologize for the barking. But, well, thank you for joining us. Please like, subscribe, turn on your notifications.
Ooh.
Oops.
I think these are done anyway. But, yeah. So I did the little Scrabble tile needle minder. So
Cool. Now it's just a matter of getting them on the Etsy site, and I apologize, but I just realized that she made a whole bunch that I never got up there. So.
Well, so check it out, and we thank you for joining us. Have a good week.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. And I still didn't talk about my Bearizona shirt.
Oh, talk about it fast. She's wearing a Bearizona shirt.
I'm wearing my Mama Bear Bearizona shirt. Bearizona is a, it's not a zoo, but, it's one of those big walk around things where you see animals.
You can drive through and see bears.
You can drive through, and it's in northern New Mexico. My son bought this one.
It's in northern Arizona.
Northern Arizona. Sorry, Bearizona. Sorry.
That's her Mama Bear shirt.
That's my Mama Bear shirt because my son bought it for me when he went up there last.
Okay.
Okay.
Now you've talked about
Now
it.
I talked about it.
All right. Happy November.
Bye.